Well, hello guys. So, I'm kind of back. I still sometimes have a little bit of cough. I don't know if you have heard or seen anywhere, but I had pneumonia. It wasn't a fun time. So I thought coming back, instead of doing some long reaction video and reading a bunch of stuff that may or may not make sense, I just give you some of my thoughts, stuff that's been going on. So where have I been all this time? As I said, I have been, well, except for pneumonia, my life has been quite normal. Nothing particularly to worry about. Some interesting things have been happening on the YouTube space recently. A lot of YouTubers who have made their 10-year mark on YouTube as content creators are now leaving YouTube or saying that they might leave YouTube for other endeavors, or saying goodbye to one channel and then moving on to their vlog channel full time. And a lot of 10-year mark YouTubers are just disappearing from the YouTube space. I mean, some are still, going on and on. Even though they don't get as many views as they did before, they're still entertaining their core fan base, I guess. So it's kind of like a make way for the next wave of content creators, I suppose. Could I be one of them? I don't know. But anyway, I thought it's like the end of an era. I do feel like YouTube has been having some kind of, I don't know, it's like there's so much content out there. This is just me rambling. I didn't plan to even talk about any of this. There's just so much content out there that I feel like we have just so much that the internet is just a whole big, it's like a big jumble of things and stuff and things and stuff, and it's just a lot and almost too much. And gosh, I'm contributing to that, aren't I? But it's the day and age, this digital era. I don't know what it's going to be like from here on. Like, is YouTube going to die out or something? Like, there's just going to be so much content being put out and recycled and then put out and recycled and over that people are going to lose interest. I don't know. Or is content somehow going to go through a shift? Like we had the vloggers. Before that we had like the prankster era. There was the vlog era, the skit era. There's a lot of video essays going around right now, long form content, but now there's short form content. There's YouTube shorts competing with Instagram Reels and TikTok. And I don't know what's going to happen from here on. Like, what kind of content are people going to look for? Are people going to remain on YouTube? There are people who rely on YouTube to bring in a fan base, to create a fan base, like musicians. There is a singer, a British singer, Courtney Hadwin, who returned after a long sort of hiatus, I guess. She's now making her own music and putting it up on YouTube, relying on YouTube, to bring in the fan base and gather an audience through social media, because social media is big for the younger generation. But is YouTube turning into like a Facebook situation in which certain generation people use YouTube? But you do see still people making young people making content and becoming large content creators. Like, there are genres of videos that I do not watch, but the younger people are making and watching them. So maybe it's not going to turn into a Facebook situation in which, like, Facebook is slowly, I don't know, they're not really dying out, but a certain generation of people start collecting there, or certain type of people start using the platform for gathering clients, like artists gathering clients, cover artists, cover making artists gathering clients, and people having support groups, which is still a thing, but I don't know, that kind of stuff. And with AdSense and all that being like a big drama kind of thing, sponsorships, all that, what will happen with Facebook and YouTube and Meta and all that, I don't know. But there is an era that is coming to an end on YouTube, slowly but surely. And some of the OG creators, they're disappearing off the platform and starting new things and making new careers. What is going to happen? I don't know. I did not plan to talk about this in the beginning. It's not one of the topics at all. This was going to be about me and not about random people. YouTube people. I don't know. YouTubers. Okay. So, yeah, I've just talked about something. I just talked about YouTubers. 10-year mark of some YouTubers. Like, recently, this video, I sometimes watch videos by Sierra Schultze, fashion, body positivity YouTuber. And she just recently made a video of saying goodbye to her main channel after 10 years. She has a vlog channel, so I guess she's going to go to the vlog channel. I can't really always watch vlogs because of the camera movement, and I get motion sickness from vlog channels a lot. I just can't watch vlog channels. Which is kind of sad because sometimes I do want to watch them. If I can just listen to them, that would be nice. Maybe I should watch podcasts or listen to podcasts more. I don't know. Anyway. So what's been going on with me? Where have I been? What have I been doing? Well, I've kind of been on winter break. As I said in the beginning, I got sick with pneumonia, which you never want to get pneumonia because I don't know if any of you have ever gotten pneumonia before, but you never want to get pneumonia or pneumonia, the silent P for some random reason. Well, it's not random. It feels like every time you cough, when it's really bad, it feels like the air is being punched out of you from the inside. It's really bad. And I would feel short of breath when I would walk anywhere, and that continued for quite some time. It was pretty long, and I got some like pneumonia, specifically dealing with pneumonia medicine, and even though it was like at the recommended, like the doctor's recommended dosage and stuff like that, it still took like almost a month, for almost 2 months for me to finally get over it. Like, I still feel a little bit coughy here and there sometimes, not big coughs, like little teeny tiny annoying dry coughs and things like that, but I just recently started feeling more like myself. Before it wasn't, and I would feel nauseous in the morning, and it would be really bad, feeling tired all the time, and just blah. Really don't want to get pneumonia if you can help it. I didn't think that I would ever get pneumonia, but after getting it, I can really understand how pneumonia could even be fatal for people who are either older people, elderly people, and people who just can't who their bodies really can't take big sicknesses, you know, it could be fatal to them. I can really understand that, because it really feels like your breath is being taken away. And you know, I really understood why people can die from this. I mean, it was kind of scary, to be honest. During all that, I went home to my parents' place for post Christmas celebration and New Year's. I enjoyed it as much as I could, but I was still feeling sick, and I didn't take medicine, and I was still feeling nauseous, so I didn't really get to enjoy the food as much as I wanted to, which is kind of a bummer. But you know, what can you do? I laid in bed a lot. We were going to go out and do things, but I couldn't do a lot of that, which was a bummer. But, you know, what can you do? What can you do? So then after that, I came back here. We came back home, and then I had to reorient myself and recheck. Okay, what am I doing in terms of story projects, writing projects, editing, any art endeavors? Like, what am I doing? What is going on? Video ideas, all that, you know, just reorient myself and figure it out and be like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, and that sort of thing. You know what it's like coming back after a break. You're kind of like, who am I? What am I doing? Where am I going? I have no idea. So I had to figure that out, and I'm still kind of iffy about some of things, but it's a little bit better than it was last week. That's why I felt like I could make a video this week. Anyway, that's what has been going on with me, and that's where I have been. Where have you guys been? How are you doing? How are you doing? There is all kinds of stuff going on in this world right now. All kinds of bad stuff going on in this world. How are you doing? Are you doing okay? Because we can talk in the comments if you want, if you need someone to talk to. You know, I'm always open talking in the comments. Not just because, getting comments on my videos means I can get my video out there to more people. It's not just that. I do just like chatting with people online. It's just fun, okay? And it's just nice because, you know, when you chat with someone online, you think, oh, that person sees me and knows that I exist. And that's a nice feeling, isn't it? It's a nice feeling for me, too, that you know that I exist and that I know that you exist, you know. So if you can leave a comment, or if you just want to talk about something, like how you've been doing. Because I want to know how you guys have been doing. Tell me the stuff. Okay. And if you really don't know, I don't know if I want to tell you this because you're just a stranger and I can't even see your face. You don't have to comment. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not trying to like pressure you to comment because it boosts me in the algorithm or anything like that. Just don't comment anything. Leave an emoji or something. That's fine too. That's fine too. Okay, so the next thing I am going to talk about is achievements and goals. Each year on Instagram, actually I was doing this before joining Instagram, but anyway, I would create a list of achievements, things that I have achieved this year. It's good to reflect, and sometimes you surprise yourself with how much you have actually, not accumulated, that's not the right word, how much you have actually accomplished. And goals I do every year, and I also make them a little bit ambitious because it's good to dream big. It's a motivator. I think it's a healthy motivator. I can't tell you exactly why. It's probably some psychology thing that I don't completely understand. And I come up with my goals for this year. And I do that every single year. And every time I write down my achievements, I also look at what goals that I had and did I complete any of these, and if I didn't, what did I do this year. Truth is, last year I really didn't feel like I accomplished much. I accomplished some really big things, but like the stuff that I thought that I would accomplish, that I would achieve, I didn't. So I felt very under accomplished, and I thought, this isn't good. This is not good for me to be thinking I didn't do much, because it was an entire year. I would have done something, right? I probably did something and I just don't realize. I just need to think about it for a moment. So that's what I did. Think about the achievements. What did I do? Thinking about what you have achieved also boosts confidence, in my opinion, anyway. Because, oh, wait a moment, I did more than I thought that I did. And if even in the achievements, like if I didn't achieve something, like if I failed to achieve, it's really hard, it's really hard to just say, okay, I failed, and acknowledge that, and then say, what could I have done better? Knowing that I didn't do something as well as I should have, acknowledging that I didn't do it well is really hard, because it knocks down your ego, knocks down your confidence, and you feel like you suck and that you were terrible last year. And you get into a negative mindset, and it's not a good feeling. But you have to, it's important to acknowledge that, and acknowledge those feelings, and say it's okay to feel this way. But then, even if you have to force yourself to just pick yourself up and say, okay, enough about last year. What could I have done better? What are the things that I could have done last year that I can do this year? Last year doesn't mean my life has ended, okay? It just means that I didn't do it last year. So maybe I can do it this year. Maybe I can try. Maybe I can even focus on the things that I didn't do well last year. Maybe I can focus on that and just make it the goals for this year. And so we get into the goals, and each year, as I said, I make them a little bit ambitious. I dream big. The reason that I dream big and make them a little bit ambitious is that if all of my goals are definitely achievable, I feel like I wouldn't feel so rewarded. Like, when you do something, like you tackle a big challenge that you feel a little bit like you can't, like you feel a little inadequate. I don't know if that's the right word. You feel like you are not prepared for this, and yet you are tackling it, you're challenging it. And then once you achieve it, you're like, it's like that much more rewarding than, say, if you do something that you can do. You can definitely achieve it. You finish it and you're like, yes, I knew I could do this. That is great. But it's not although it's rewarding, it's not as rewarding as taking on something that's a little bit difficult for you and tackling it. And maybe you make terrible mistakes on the way too. Maybe it's just you feel like, oh my gosh, this really is not going to work out. But you keep at it, and then you achieve it. It's that much more rewarding, right? So that's why I make my goals each year slightly unachievable. It's like, as I'm making these goals, I'm thinking like, can I really do it this year? Can I do all of this year? I mean, yes, there are 24 hours in a day, and there's about, 28, thinking about February, 28 to 31 days in each month, 7 days a week. There's a lot of time to do things. And even though you might not always have the energy to do them and stuff like that, there's a lot of time. So maybe it's achievable, or maybe it's not, And I also make them a little ambitious because I think it's important to learn how to learn from failures. Like, you can learn from failures, but you have to also learn how to then learn from your failures. Like, okay, I failed. Why did I fail? This is why. So now what? I know this. I know why I failed, but how do I then sort of bring this into the next year and try to make it a success, turning that around? You can learn how to learn from your failures. That's what I think. And each time you find a little thing about yourself that you could have done better, and then each year maybe hopefully you grow a little bit. I mean, that's my hope. That's my hope, and that's why I make it a little bit unachievable for myself. I think they're called stretch goals. I think companies do them. Anyway, so that is why I have these achievements and goals each year. And it's a nice thing to do. And, a lot of people do it on social media too, but I've been just doing it just because, I don't know, it's nice to have all the stuff in a list, because, hold on, I need some water. Okay, I got my water bottle. All right. If you hear my water bottle, I just put it down on my table next to me, next to my microphone. I don't know what this accent is. Water bottle. Hee hee hee. Oh, right. This is not the right slide. I don't know why it says publishing author stage. This is from, I recycle my slides, so that I can keep with the same style and font, and I don't have to fix the font every single time I make more slides. This is supposed to be publishing reflection. So I released an ebook, right? So on October 23, 2023, I released an ebook. It's my debut book. It's YA Portal Fantasy Between Roses. And the situation, okay, so the way I released it is not because I'm self-published, it's not through a publisher or anything. The way I released it is that I used Draft to Digital, and this is a book distribution website for book distribution platform for self-publishing authors, indie authors. Wada bada. And I released the ebook. And I thought, because I want to release the ebook now on my birthday, because I think it's a special thing to do. And I just wanted to do it, okay? It was no other reason. I just really wanted to do it on this day. And I thought, okay, because I wanted to make a paperback with illustrations. And that was taking some time. That was going to take some time, I knew. So I thought I wanted to get the ebook out first, and then I'll do the paperback. And I'll put in illustrations and bonus content, and it was going to be a fun time. And now I have to release the paperback, right? So at first I thought that people who had ARC, advanced reader copies, when they get the ebook, could review the ebook also on Amazon. But apparently for some people, not for everyone, but for some people, it would have been better if I released the ebook and paperback at the same time, because Amazon needs to verify that you purchased the book or something. And some people were able to get it verified, and I guess some people weren't, or they didn't want to use their same account from Goodreads or something because it showed their name. And there was various reasons why some people couldn't post the Amazon review. And I thought, I did not realize that would be a situation. Because I never thought that that would be a thing, that that would be an issue. So I thought, okay, should I have released the ebook and paperback at the same time? So basically, I thought, okay, reflecting on this everything, while it was okay that I released just the ebook, because I have seen other writers who have released just the ebook, and then sometime later, they get a new cover, they get it reformatted, and they release the paperback and hardback versions. So they do it like I did. They're also indie authors. They're self-published authors. They don't release the ebook and paperback at the same time. And another thing that I did learn was that a lot of authors don't do advanced reader copy, physical advanced reader copies. They don't send out unless it's like a giveaway, because it's expensive to send out advanced reader copies, because you, the author, the self-published author, has to pay for the shipping. Because what? You're going to make your reader pay for the shipping? No, you're not going to do that. You are going to pay to have this drop shipped to them. But a lot of authors, indie authors, only give out the ebook advanced reader copy, even though they are also going to release a paperback. So I'm thinking, if that is the case, then I should have released the ebook and the paperback at the same time. It should have been the same thing. I didn't think about that. But the next book would be that way. So, thing I learned reflecting on my publishing. I mean, I knew there were going to be things that I did in which I would think that, oh, I should have done it this way, or I should have done that way. I knew there were going to be things like that. I didn't expect it to be like this, but it's not a bad thing. It's just, I don't know, this is going to happen. I also should have written up a schedule. I should have written up a schedule to not cut things too close. So, I am a pantser. I write by the seat of my pants. That's how I go with life, too, for the most part. I sort of pants life, in a sense. Okay, and I don't really write things down. I don't make to-do lists all that often. I don't even make grocery lists all that often. I just don't list things that I need to do or get and stuff like that. So, but I did think that if I know that I want to release this book someday, I actually need to pick a day to do that and then work my way backwards, because people have schedules, and you want to schedule things in advance, secure spots with editors in advance, way in advance. And I noticed that if I book a service in advance, oh, you better bet it that I am going to get the thing done. So it motivates me, sort of a forceful motivator, and I seem to do well with that. I mean, I don't know if it's a healthy way to do things, but if it works for me, it works for me, and if I can't afford the service, then I will do that. Even if it's not a service, but like a beta reader, and I ask the beta reader, I am going to send you this thing by this day. You can bet I am going to finish it by that day. So it's good for me to have sort of set deadlines. And in order to have set deadlines, then I can, if I have set deadlines, then I can actually create a schedule up until book release, right? So Related to that, placing the release date way in advance gives me a lot less stress. So, like my paperback version, I mean, I could release it next month if I push things, but I am not going to push things. It is safer if issues come up, if I have the release date, not in February, but in March or even April. At the moment, it seems like March might be doable. So I have been telling people it's going to be in March at the moment. But indie author, I don't know what's going to happen. Another thing I thought maybe I should have done more of is to promote the book way earlier if the draft is done. So Between Roses kind of came about to publish it like very in a different kind of way than I was expecting it to. So I didn't really do promotion of book release. But I think if I had created a schedule at the time of the draft, then it would act as promotion. Like if I say, okay, I am going to release this book like a year from now, and I set the month, maybe May or something like that, and then I say I'm going to release this book on May 2026 or something like that, and then so I plan that day and I work my way back, because now I know how long typically things will take. And of course it depends on the person or who you ask. Some people say, oh, it takes me 2 weeks to do such and such. Some people say it takes me a week to do such and such. So you ask them, about how long does it take. And especially if I've worked with them before, I know how long that it took the first time. So then I can work my way backwards and schedule it and make sure that the draft is done. So then how much time do I need in between draft and release? And I can schedule it and plan things out that way. And I think that is better, especially if I'm considering releasing book one after another. That would be a good motivator. Like this year would be this book. This year would be this book. That kind of thing. I don't know how well that would work for me personally in my life. Because you have to think about those sort of things. So, reflecting on my publishing, I think that I can do with a little more scheduling. Yes. I think that is the way to go. That is what I've been thinking. And saying it out loud also helps me feel a little bit more sure about my decisions about this scheduling situation, so to speak. Yeah. All right, so the last topic of this is about a writing forum that I have been loving called Wacky Writers. Now, the way I have joined Wacky Writers is a little bit different than some of you, maybe, if you don't know about it. I am a Wattpad user. I know what people think about Wattpad, like it's a fan fiction site, and yes, there is a lot of cringy fan fiction on Wattpad, but there are a lot of great stories. Some of them are mine. I mean, I think my stories are pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't have written them if I didn't like them. Anyway, so Wattpad had a forum that they couldn't handle anymore, so they got rid of it. Anyway, that's what I heard, what was the reason. And so they didn't have a forum anymore. So a bunch of some Wattpad writers got together and created a forum. using a provider, I think, called Discourse. And so they made this forum. So it's a forum by writers for writers, and I just found it out about it through some other Wattpad writers who I was following and connecting with on Wattpad. They told me about this site, that someone had come up with this site and come over here. We can, so I found out about it through mutuals, I don't know why I keep saying, You don't know. You don't know anything. I'm just telling you. So I found out about it through mutuals. So it's not exactly like, oh, I'm looking for a writing forum, let me see what this one is all about. I didn't like happenstance? Is that a word? I didn't happen to find it. I already knew about it. And it was just created that time. Hasn't been 2 years, hasn't been 3 years. It's been some time. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about Wacky Writers. So, I have not been being told to say these things, by the way. This is my own experiences and stuff like that. And I did ask them if it's okay for me to talk about Wacky Writers, and they're like, yay. So I'm like, okay, then I'll do it. So writing forums for writers, by writers, funded by you. Okay, the thing is, running a website can be costly. I use Adblock, or something like Adblock, not Adblock, but I use something similar. So I don't know what the ad situation is. I don't think there are any ads, or if there are, they're not annoying ads. For the most part, this website is funded by the creator's pocket money and by people, writers on the website who decide, oh, maybe I want to do a little contribution today. So I have contributed some other people has contributed some. It's not a lot, but it makes all the difference, of course. So that's just the thing. Although it's a free website, free still costs. So of course it's always great if you can, even just $1 or whatever your currency is, to donate. And there are different ways. You can buy merch. There is stickers and notebooks and stuff. And there is also, I think there's a GoFundMe page, and there's also a way to donate through PayPal. I can't exactly remember. Anyway, there are ways, and there is a place that talks about donating and funding, and you can go there for that. Anyway, that out of the way, the age range of Wacky Writers seems to be late teens. I mean, I have seen some people that are younger. 15, 16. I think I've seen some people that are around that age, but mostly late teens up to 50s, maybe 60s, maybe even older. So there are a lot of over 20 people. Over 20s. A lot of people over 20s. And although I said it was started by a Wattpad user, many users don't use Wattpad, or they don't use Wattpad anymore. Some users do. Some users don't. So you don't have to be like active on Wattpad or have a Wattpad account in order to join this site. And as for the people, some have publishing experience, some are editors, some do like computer programming stuff, I don't understand that stuff, but they do, and I think that's pretty cool. Some do like arts and crafts along with writing. Some are writing seriously, like me. Some are just writing casually. It's just a fun hobby. They really don't want to publish anything anywhere. Some people are just very avid world builders. They just like creating worlds. Some people have their own like fantasy language. It's pretty cool. So there's all kinds of people on there for you to talk to, things that you can do. Speaking of what you can talk about on Wacky Writers, these are some topics that I have seen personally, okay? Research. Anything you want to research about, there's got to be someone there who knows something, okay? Researching things for your story. Do you need to write a blurb? Do you need thoughts on your blurb? I've gotten thoughts on my blurb that have been very helpful. Some people who are editors, who have editing experience, willing to help a fellow writer out, which is nice. If you are a plotter, like you need to outline your novels, or you feel like you need to, but you don't know how, you could ask people, how do you do it? You can get some ideas. If you're a pantser and you're struggling through a moment, or you don't know if you're a pantser, there's plenty of pantsers. I'm a pantser. I can give you some ideas and tips and stuff like that if you want. There is also a whole ton of brainstorming. Like you might have this idea about this certain magical power, but you're not really sure if you've got it down pat. So I never say got it down pat. I don't know where that came from. Brainstorming, lots of brainstorming. People love a brainstorming. There's a lot of that. There's brainstorming that has nothing to do with stories too. People just like brainstorming things. So there's a lot of that. Sometimes there's writing prompts and prompts like questionnaires for characters. Some people put those up and then you can do your characters and have a little fun with that. Sometimes there are discussions. I tend to be on the discussion giver side. I like having discussions with people. This could be about anything, not just writing. It could be about writing. It could be about social media or technology. I had some questions about AI and ethics. It could be about that. It could be about at the beginning of this video, I talked about there being too much YouTube content out there. And what do people feel about that? What are your thoughts? Do you feel like how I feel? What do you think? Do you think YouTube will change or not? Or will it die out somehow? Will it be like a Facebook situation? I don't know. So those sort of discussions. And of course, if you like to talk about anime, there are some very anime lovers. What is that? There are some anime lovers. There's a lot of anime lovers over there. Popular anime that comes out. There's lots of I just blinked out. What are the animes that people watch? Anyway, movies, you want to talk about movies. There are some people, if you like horror movies, I like horror movies. So if you like horror movies, there are people to talk to over there. Get some horror movie recommendations. Even just movies. Like people who write tend to also watch movies a lot, apparently. So if you want to talk about that, you can talk about a lot of that. Moving. I know it's like anime, movies, and moving. It's like moving. Yes, moving. If you are moving to a dormitory for the first time, moving to an apartment for the first time, you're apartment hunting, you are looking to move to a new city, or you want to move somewhere else, or you just want to talk about moving and the stress of finding a new place and that sort of thing. Tends to be a popular topic. I don't know why, but it tends to be there. Anyway, that's interesting. Recipes, not a lot, but I have seen people like talking about food as well. So if you're a foodie, you like talking about food, you have some weird food combinations that you like, you can talk about that. I mean, just random stuff. Of course, fictional recipes might be another good topic. Haven't seen a lot of it, but people like food. Also, human relationships. If you're like, without dropping any names of real people, you're like, oh, I want to talk about like friendships, having a little bit of issue with a certain person that is like this, what do you think I should do? Or you want to vent a little bit, rant a little bit about something. There is a specific section for rants and vents if you want to do that. If you feel like you just need to talk to someone, it's just a nice place to go if you're struggling with like mental health. Or there are people who have disabilities on this site, all different kinds of disabilities. Physical disabilities, like mental disability. Is mental disabilities a thing? I don't really know the correct terminology because I'm not in the disability community. But there are lots of people on there who would be willing to talk about these things, okay? Or you want to be one of those, do one of those things, just gush about your stories. I just want to talk about this story. And what do you guys think? What are your stories like? You know, you invite people also. You don't just talk about yourself. You also invite people into the conversation. Yeah. All kinds of stuff. Or if you're struggling with writing, there's a specific thread called Struggling Writers. You just want to say, this chapter sucks. You just want to say, and you just want a little validation. And it's just nice to know that people are out there and they're liking your post or they're commenting or they're leaving a little bit of a reaction. You just feel a little bit more seen. Yeah, as I said, you can talk about blurbs. You can get some advice on your covers. And if you have services like you're an editor or you're a cover artist or you're an illustrator, there is a place to advertise that. Just don't spam. Yeah. Overall, Wacky Writers is a very peaceful and safe place. There's no spam. I haven't come across anyone that is toxic. It's not so active in that you get overwhelmed with like content after content and reply after reply. It's like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. But it's not underwhelming either. It's always somewhat active. And there's always somebody there. Somebody is always there. At least 10 people are always there. I don't even know if they even get off the website, to be honest, but they're always there. I'm often on there. I check there every day. So, how do you find Wacky Writers? Where do you go? Where do you go? If you want to find Wacky Writers, you go to Google, okay? You type in Wacky Writers. And you'll see something like this. Look on the screen right now. If you're not looking at the screen, look at the screen right now and let me show you. This is what you will find. Wacky Writers Forum, Wacky Writers, okay? You want to click on the one that says Forum because that is the forum. I don't know. They have a website. But I don't know how active the website is. There were some issues with the website before, and I don't really know what the situation is right now with this thing, but you want to go to Wacky Writers Forum. You want to go to the forum. That is where you want to go. You make an account. It's all free. No pressure, but you are encouraged to donate if you can. As I said, the site operation relies on the founder's out-of-pocket funds and your contributions, no matter how small. Everything helps. And if you just can't contribute, like you just don't have the funds for that, share it with your friends. Share it with other people who are looking for a writing community that is very casual and laid back and friendly and safe. Okay, if they want that. This is what I see when I log in. This is what I see when I log in. The last time I logged in, this is what I see. There is some stuff here. You can go. There is, latest topics you can do. There's all kinds of bunch of stuff you can look at. Here are some other categories. You can go to the ones that tickle your fancy. You just want to talk about writing. If you want to, I'm often on the one called the chatters. Yeah, that's where the random stuff is. You can go to our showroom. Wacky Classifieds is for like if you're promoting something, you have some services, things like that. There's also role playing in games. I don't go there because I don't role play, but there is a big role playing thread and it's pretty active. So if you're into role playing, you might want to check that out. This is a thread that I created. Yes, my username is the Tiger Writer. It has nothing to do with foxes, does it? It's called a Fox Chat. If you want to come and say hello, you can come on by. If you want. I always check Fox Chat. I always have some new topics going on. I need to think of a topic that I want to topic about. A topic to topic about. Yeah, get it? Okay. So, I thought I would also talk to you about what has Wacky done for me. It's like, because even if I tell you like, oh, this site is great, you can do all these things, you're like, is it really great? So I've been on for like a couple years now. And Wackies are great. Great place. So the reason it's great for me is there is a community, friends, connections. That's the biggest thing. Because, hold on, let me give a pause here. Wacky Writers, what has it done for me? This is doing this for timestamps, okay? Because this is an important section. First of all, writing is lonely, especially if like you're like me and you live in a country like Japan where English is not the first language. It's difficult to find your writing community. And even if you do live in a place that speaks English, maybe you can't easily access the writing community. So you just don't have anyone to talk to. Wacky Writers gives you people to talk to. Like, you can connect with other writers. Even if it's just one or two people, it's just nice to know there are other people out there. And I just can't stress enough how beneficial that has been for me. I don't know if I would have finished anything if I didn't have a writing forum that is as friendly and nice as Wacky Writers to continue. I don't know if I would have even released my book, honestly. Because writing is just so lonely for me over here in Japan. And maybe you've felt like that too. And just connections is just so important, You probably know. Another thing, writing is hard. There are times when you just maybe need a virtual shoulder to cry on, or a little validation that what you are doing is good. What you are doing is nice. What you are writing is actually meaningful. Writers support writers. Writers, we understand each other. We get the struggles. We've been there. Even if we've been writing for over 10 years, we might still, why do I still say we might still struggle and have a hard time, and maybe you felt that way too, that it's just so hard. Like, why can't I get this right? This writer's block is so debilitating, or maybe writing is hard because you have some mental struggles that you go through. There are people on Wacky Writers that have ADHD or AUDHD, I've seen. And it's debilitating for them in their life. And they struggle. And they also struggle with writing for that reason, that their mental health is just hard for them to deal with. Maybe they don't have the best living situation or whatever. And that comes into their writing, and then they struggle with writing. And so when you feel like, oh, like writing is just so hard, and you have someone to talk to, even just someone to say, you're doing great. You have come so far. You should be proud of yourself. And even if you don't feel it, maybe at that moment, maybe you feel a little bit, yeah, this person hears me, and is also a writer, and they support me, and then that's a great feeling, It's a great feeling. And even if it's not someone, even if it's someone like me, I don't really have like big debilitating mental health struggles all that often, but I do get times where I'm like, I don't know if this is even good enough. And then I go on Wacky, because I know I can rely on Wacky people. Wackies, they're great people. They're great people. They understand. They get it. Yeah. If you're Wacky and you're watching this video, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Writing is fun. Writing is fun. What if you want to talk about some cool idea you had? You can go to Wacky. You want to brainstorm a new story idea that you had? You could go to Wacky. People always want to talk. And what if you don't want to share your ideas at all? Maybe you don't even want to share your ideas for whatever reasons that you have. It's fine. We can talk about my story. I'm always willing to talk about my story. Or we can talk about how, in general, like how fun writing is. Like, oh, it's so creative, or it's freeing, or this is what I like about writing. This is why I started writing. These are my favorite authors. You want to talk about that with someone, right? Maybe no one in your family likes to write, and you're the outlier. You're like the black sheep. Not the black sheep. That's a bad thing. You are the unique and fascinating outlier in your family, and you find this community online, and they also want to talk about the fun things about writing. We just want to gush about this particular unique word that means the smell of rain or something like that. And it's like your family is like, well, what is so great about that? And you're like, well, I like this word. And you go to Wacky, and it's like, I like that word too. And here's an even weirder, funner kind of word. So you can talk about all the fun things about writing too. I have lots of fun talking about all kinds of just odd things that writers do or don't do, or things that we feel about our writing, awesome ideas that we've had, and you find people who come up with like the oddest, unique, craziest ideas that are just so awesome. Like, I've never thought about that before. That's great. Tell me more. You can have a great conversation with people. Also, last thing, I promise this is the last thing about Wacky has done for me. Writers are people. Writers, they are people. So if you want to chat about movies, you can. You want to talk about your favorite TV show, your favorite anime, your favorite game, your favorite book, author, whatever. You want to talk about your mental health struggles or your human relationships. Because writers are people, you can talk about these things. You can chat. That's what the chatters are for. Wacky, wacky, wacky all the way. So, that is Wacky Writers. And if you feel like, oh, writing is hard, or writing is lonely, or I just want to have fun and talk about stories and ideas and brainstorm, or I just want to chat with other people who have similar likes and dislikes and similar hobbies as me, then Wacky, I would highly recommend that you join Wacky. I mean, it's free. What do you got to lose? You don't have anything to lose. Tell your friends. and share Wacky Writers to the world. Honestly, this is one of the best and most casual, easy to exist on forums that I've been on. I've tried some other forums. They just don't feel as friendly as Wacky. People are always willing to talk on Wacky. Always willing to involve you in one discussion or the other. And I'm there, so that's the perk of Wacky. No, I'm not like a spokesperson of Wacky or anything. I mean, I just really like the site. So, yeah. That's the end of this video. Leave your comments down below. We talked about a lot of stuff in this video. I just wanted to talk to you guys and tell you what's been going on with my life. And, you know, I don't share a lot about those stuff. I don't know why I keep saying because you don't know. I don't share a lot of stuff about my life, but I thought I'd just update you what's going on and tell you about stuff. And for some reason begin this video with talking about the future of YouTube and YouTube eras and YouTubers after 10 years leaving and that sort of thing. I don't know why I started talking about that, but anyway, that happened. Probably because I watched the Sierra Schultz's goodbye video just yesterday, so I really wanted to just talk about it, I guess. And then we got into what's been going on in my life, and I talked about why I reflect on my achievements and talk about my goals of the new year. And then I talked about Wacky Writers. Wacky Writers Forum. Wacky Writers Forum. That's what it is, guys. That's what it is. If you're a writer and you want a community, Wacky Writers Forum. And if you feel like, oh geez, I don't know if this is a place for me, these people, because I don't know them, and you do, Anna, because you've been on there. I mean, I know like 10 people. I think I know like 10 people very well. But they're like 800 people on that site. Okay, so there are a lot of people on there, and if you don't want to go in the chatters, you don't have to go to the chatters, okay? I'm on the chatters, but you can come and say hi and just slip off to role-playing, and then that can be your place. Or you can go to these threads that are a bunch of people editing their story or writing sprints and whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. It's great. It's great for that. And if you just want to create like a blog type of thing, there's this thing called personal threads. And you can't comment on people's personal threads, but you can leave likes. And these are just like blog posts. Some people write book reviews. Some people vent about their stories. Some people give story updates, and some people just write down story ideas. I just use mine to write down just random story ideas. Sometimes I write down weird dreams that I had. So you can go and you can follow those posts if you want to. There's a bunch of stuff for a bunch of different people. So anyway, I just really like the site, okay? So anyway, what was it? This is the end of the video. Leave a comment. If you don't know what to say, just say wacky. Yeah. Comments help more people see these videos, but of course, no pressure. And what else do I say at the end of videos? Share this video with your friends. Tell them about Wacky Writers. Keep hydrated. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day. And you will hear me in the next video. The fox is out.